Hey guys, everything alright? Welcome everyone. We begin by seeing Colonel Sam Sin, who is at the Federal Institute of Science admiring a photo of his boat when a colleague informs him that the guests have arrived. He takes a few swigs of drink to brace himself for the duty and then heads to the lobby with no enthusiasm. There are Dr. Karen, an assistant named Josh, and Senator Jackson, who makes several unpleasant comments and refers to Sam as a disgrace to the country. When a delivery man interrupts the conversation, Sam warns him that he is in the wrong place and that the Federal Revenue Building is next door. In the laboratory, Dr. Jillian is impatient with her assistant Brian's nervousness as they prepare for the presentation. It is no secret that the senator intends to cut the project funding, and this visit is crucial to avoid disaster. Lieutenant Rivers comes to check if everything is alright and takes the opportunity to comment to Jillian on how much fun it was the night before, but the doctor responds harshly. She begins the presentation boldly, claiming that her research is responsible for the greatest scientific discovery in history. Jillian asserts that she has proven the existence of parallel universes and built a machine capable of showing what is happening in them. The audience's reaction is such an uproar that it almost drowns out her voice, but when Brian turns on the machine, everyone pays attention. The projection shows images that resemble another planet, but the scientist assures them that this is not the case. This is what is happening in the very same place, at this very moment, just in another dimension. Jackson finds it absurd that she would want $250 million to fund this kind of joke, and the only one who seems to believe Jillian is the other scientist, Karen. Answering her questions, Jillian states that no intelligent life has been recorded yet, but the likelihood of that happening is great, as many of these alternative realities have favorable conditions. To help his boss, Brian tunes the machine to the dimension closest to Earth, where there are even plants and animals. In the image, something rushes by, darkening the projection for a moment, startling the audience. Brian is also nervous, but not about the appearance. The measuring devices are indicating a dangerous anomaly, and the machine seems to be going out of control. When he shows the numbers to Jillian, she says the building needs to be evacuated immediately. She barely finishes the sentence when the room starts shaking and the machine emits a bright light, knocking everyone out. Many do not survive the incident, and the others remain unconscious for several minutes. Sam is the first to recover and already has an unpleasant surprise. A horrifying sound is coming from a corner of the room, as if an animal were chewing on parts of its prey. He tries to wake up Soldier Jordan, who has fallen beside him, but he cannot. Looking towards the source of the strange sound, he sees a body swaying. Something pulls an arm, separating it from the hole. Behind the victim, the flashes of the light briefly reveal a bizarre head. The creature notices Sam's presence and zooms past him like lightning, fleeing down the corridor. He pursues the animal and begins to shoot, waking Lieutenant Rivers. The two communicate via radio, planning to surround the invader. The laboratory is almost dark because the emergency lights are failing and keep flickering. To make matters worse, the creature is very fast and hides easily, plus it has a horrifying appearance. In the projection room, people are slowly recovering. A scientist named Lex is despondent over the losses, and Senator Jackson is furious. When Sam and Rivers arrive, he begins another verbal attack on the colonel, saying that he disappeared when the civilians needed him most. Sam is bringing a large black bag and does not respond to the accusations. He simply empties the bag on the table, showing that he managed to bring down the predator. The survivors gather around the table with curiosity and a bit of disgust. The animal does not resemble any known species and exudes an ammonia odor. Karen thinks it came from another dimension, but Jillian asserts that crossing over is impossible. Jackson calls his companions to get out of there, but Sam has the satisfaction of stopping him. According to protocol, the occupants of the premises are in quarantine, and only the colonel can lift it. Before Jackson can protest, a tremor shakes everything for several seconds. As Brian and Jillian try to protect the machine, the senator hides under the table and calls Josh to serve as a shield. The furniture begins to slide across the floor, and when the tremor ceases, Karen says that it was not an earthquake. Then Jillian hears Lex's moans and realizes that he is having a heart attack. While the doctors try to help him, Sam orders Jordan to watch the doors. Despite the team's efforts, Lex does not survive. Seeing this as his limit, Jackson ignores the military orders and heads for the exit. When Sam tries to stop him, he dares the colonel to use brute force, knowing that he will not attack a senator with his career already nearly in decline. Jackson opens the door and finds himself in the middle of a forest, so dazed that he looks back at Sam, as if it were his fault. Then something attacks him with incredible speed, and the military rush down the corridor, on high alert. Outside, they catch sight of what is left of the senator and discover that the sky is lilac. The astonishment is interrupted by the fierce roar of a creature that resembles a mutant dinosaur. The civilians are already crowding the hallway as the clash begins, but the gunfire does not seem to affect the target much. Sam shuts the door, knowing it won't hold back that thing, and starts to prepare for the worst. Then silence returns, and the animal seems to have given up. Back in the laboratory, Sam improvises a lookout post for the two scientists. They check that the rest of the building has simply vanished, just like the city of Washington. Karen concludes that the machine transported them to a parallel dimension. Josh asks if it's possible to reverse the direction, and Jillian explains that the machine was damaged in the tremor, but Brian says that the repair is possible. Thus, Sam starts dividing the work among the survivors. Jordan and Rivers will accompany him on an expedition to assess the danger outside. Jillian and Brian will fix the machine with the help of Josh and a staff member from the institute named Albert. Karen doesn't want to waste the chance to explore a new dimension and asks to join the soldiers. Outside, she confirms that there was indeed no earthquake and that what they felt was the laboratory sliding down the hill. The four begin walking through the woods, and Sam has to discipline the doctor firmly when she thinks about touching the vegetation. Jordan finds a parking meter stuck in a tree, and Karen says it must have gone there with the impact. Meanwhile, Jillian and Brian are redoing calculations, and she seems worried about a specific detail she hasn't mentioned to the laypeople. Near them, Josh and Albert are whispering about the adventure and dreaming about the fame they will have when they return home. Josh comments that they can make a lot of money giving interviews, but Albert says that will only be for those who have proof. The two begin to plot to steal some trophies, such as that carcass still on the table. Josh gets too excited about the idea and pokes the animal with a pen, piercing the skin. A corrosive substance jets out accurately right in Albert's forehead, making him scream and thrash on the ground. When Jillian and Brian approach, Albert is already dead. In the forest, Karen begins to talk to Sam, and he shows her the photo of his boat, to which he cannot wait to return and be at peace. A few steps behind them, Jordan starts probing Rivers about his relationship with Jillian, but the lieutenant deflects. Hearing a movement, Sam alerts the others, and everyone takes a defensive position. A creature just like the one that attacked them at the lab's door comes galloping full speed toward Jordan, and the young man only realizes when it's too late. Horrified by the attack, the others begin to run, and Rivers falls into a hole. Sam tells his friend to hold on and promises to come back for him. He and Karen reach the laboratory with the creature on their heels. Sam scares off the monster with a smoke bomb and calls Rivers on the radio. The lieutenant informs that he is sinking in quicksand, so Sam prepares to save him. Karen thinks it's crazy to leave now, but the colonel reveals that his friend did the same for him in Tehran. The smoke works, confusing the predator but also preventing Sam from seeing the way, and he ends up getting stuck in the quicksand along with Rivers. The two stumble around in the muck until Karen comes to rescue them. Sam fears she won't be able to bear his weight, but she explains that she does a lot of Pilates. As soon as she pulls the two of them out of the hole, the creature appears right beside them, fiercer than ever. They run inside and shut the door. Karen begins talking about Tehran, saying she knows what really happened there and that Sam's fame is unfair. He only replies that the huge alien trying to get in there is a more urgent matter. The three go back to the laboratory and learn about the acid incident. Then, Sam gets the idea to use it as a defense and asks Rivers to collect as much as he can. Jillian and Brian have already fixed the machine, but the system will take another 15 minutes to restart. Moreover, the generator runs on water, and they will need 50 gallons. Sam says it's not that difficult to find water in the forest, but Josh reminds him that this is another reality, and it's not even known if there is water. Once again, only Karen sees the bright side of the new expedition, excited about another chance to document everything. Fearing that the girl will delay the others, Jillian decides to share a piece of information she had kept to herself. The dimension they came from will only remain aligned with this one for the next 6 hours. After that, there will be no other chance, and they will all be trapped. Almost as a reminder of the urgency, the monster begins to pierce the ceiling. Aiming at the creature's huge open mouth, Sam throws a fire extinguisher through one of the cracks and then shoots, making the creature explode. Now the ceiling is all pockmarked, and the entire laboratory collapses without them having time to escape. Emerging from the rubble, Sam and Rivers begin to help the others. Jillian is the last to be found, protecting the machine by hugging it. Hearing roars, Sam declares that it is not safe to stay there and gives everyone just a few minutes to recover. Then they head towards a more stable shelter, preferably near a water source. Passing by the parking meter, Josh also finds part of the Institute sign. Remembering that it is quite far from the laboratory, Jillian is puzzled that it was also sucked into the vortex. Miles later, Jillian points to a gap between the treetops and says that there must be a stream there. The others are amazed by the 3 moons in the sky before noticing something even more unexpected. Karen spots a kind of antenna, which proves the presence of intelligent life. Jillian says that there is no time to waste on that because they need to reach the river as soon as possible, but Karen insists that it would be a waste not to investigate something so extraordinary. The only one to agree with Karen is Josh, excited about the chance to be the first to make contact with this civilization. Jillian cannot accept the irresponsibility of the two and reminds them that nothing in this dimension has shown to be friendly so far. Even if that area has more evolved inhabitants, there is no reason to believe they will be more welcoming. But the others begin to waver when Karen says that there may not be any river on the other side and that it is more likely to find water in a potentially urbanized area. Sam then divides the group into 2 to optimize the little time available and asks them to radio in as soon as they find water. Rivers goes with Jillian and Brian, while Sam accompanies the other 2 toward the antenna. The Colonel begins to regret this decision when Karen starts talking about her past, proving that she really knows what happened. A disastrous operation destroyed a hospital full of civilians, and Sam took the blame, even though he was not the one who gave the order. He doesn't correct her but continues to avoid the subject. Meanwhile, Brian realizes that he is the odd man out in the trio but does not notice that the machine is leaking. The good news is that they quickly find the stream. However, one of those enormous creatures is refreshing itself right there. The luck of the other trio is not much different, as there is also a creature sleeping in the middle of the path. Talking to Rivers on the radio, Sam gives up on visiting the civilization and decides to go to the others, who at least have already found water. Karen begins to protest when the creature wakes up and stands up, revealing a nest full of eggs. While Sam and Karen argue, Josh approaches the relics, filled with greed. Then the mother's roars echo closer, and the ground even shakes with her speed. The 3 begin to run until the creature appears right in front of them, blocking the way. It does nothing for a few moments, and Sam suspects something is wrong. Dead scared, Josh confesses that he stole one of the eggs. Trying not to lose his patience, Sam tells the young man to take it out of his pocket and place it on the ground very carefully. Josh obeys, but he is so nervous that the egg slips from his hand, falls to the ground, and breaks. The mother does not forgive the slip-up and finishes the young man with a single blow, while the others flee. Even after all this, Karen repeats that she will not go with Sam to the stream and prefers to be left behind if it comes to that. Sam gets annoyed but understands the decision and leaves the radio with her, warning that no one will wait when the time to leave comes. As thanks, Karen tells him that the president still has the recording of the conversation in which he himself gave that unfortunate order. This means that Sam still has a chance to clear his name. Near the stream, Rivers is pouring the acid into a pipe to make some sort of bomb. The others are getting nervous about the Colonel's delay. Rivers assures them that he will come, but agrees that they need to do something. He attaches the bomb to an improvised spear and stealthily approaches the stream. When he is close enough, he lights the fuse and throws. The spear hits the creature, but the fuse goes out before it detonates, and Rivers has to run away. Jillian and Brian lament the terrible plan as they start pumping water for the generator. Rivers is still running when he bumps into Sam and almost shoots him. Apologizing, he admits that he doesn't have any more bullets in the drum and then recounts what just happened at the stream. He starts to say that his plan worked when the creature appears right behind him. Sam tries to warn him, but the beast is faster. Trapped against a tree by a tusk, he tells his friend he will not escape this time, then seizes the chance to light the fuse again, and with the explosion, the wounded beast retreats. Meanwhile, Jillian and Brian go into a panic with a malfunction in the machine. After Rivers sacrificed himself, Sam collects his dog tags and heads to the stream. Jillian is devastated by the news about the lieutenant and still has to tell Sam that the machine broke due to a leak. This time they need freon gas, which unfortunately is much harder to find there than water. Brian explains that it's possible to replace Freon with the ammonia from the creatures, but the problem remains how to collect it. Sam then says he wants to show the two something and asks Brian to bring the machine to the nest. Recounting the episode of the broken egg, he says he noticed the same strong smell that the first animal exuded. Jillian agrees that it's easier to extract ammonia this way and says they would just need a few eggs. However, the mother is sleeping right next to it, and there are only 2 hours left until the interdimensional window closes. Meanwhile, Karen is climbing a hill to reach the antenna when there is a sudden landslide. She manages to hold on but ends up getting her foot stuck under a rock. Still in the nest, Brian begins to panic over the delay and suggests a change of plans. He thinks it's better to follow Karen and look for beings who can help them fix the machine. Sam rejects the idea and tells the two to remain quiet, waiting for the mother to move away from the eggs. When he goes around the nest to study the terrain, Jillian follows him and almost falls into a huge crater. At the same time, Brian tries to run toward the antenna, taking the machine with him. The other two are indignant to see him running but realize he won't get far, as one of the creatures is already on his tail. Terrified, Brian trips and becomes yet another victim, being dragged away by the monster along with the machine. As Sam formulates a plan to recover it, Karen manages to free herself. Over the radio, she warns him that she is about to experience a historic moment and says goodbye, knowing that there will not be time to join the others. Then Sam begins a dangerous operation and starts provoking the mother monster while Jillian approaches the nest. The entry is not very encouraging, especially when she comes face to face with her deceased assistant. She manages to grab the eggs and the machine, but the strap tangles around Brian's leg. At the same time, Sam panics upon seeing that the mother has not fallen for the trap and is already returning to the nest. Hearing his warning shouts, Jillian drops the machine and runs. To her horror, the creature returns and settles right on top of the machine. The eggs are in Jillian's pocket, and the only way out is to use them to lure the mother. Sam remembers what happened to Josh when he took one of those out of his pocket but agrees that there is no other option. The two whisper about the plan to enrage the creature without knowing that it is already happening, and the mother monster is almost upon them. When Sam grabs the egg and runs, the creature knocks Jillian down while frantically pursuing him. The creature continues to chase the colonel, seeking to kill him and take its offspring. The chase continues until Sam throws the egg into the crater. The mother does not notice the trick and dives down to take what is hers, which leaves Sam relieved. When he returns, Colonel Sam is nervous to see Jillian unconscious but quickly manages to wake her up. With free access to the nest, the two begin filling the machine with ammonia. Miles away, Karen is living the worst moment of her life as she reads the words "Federal Revenue" on a fallen sign amidst a whirlwind of papers. The antenna belongs to the neighboring building to the institute and, like the parking meter, was accidentally sucked into Jillian's machine. Regretting her stubbornness, Karen knows she is trapped in this dimension for the rest of her life. However, one of the monsters is about to reach her, shortening that period. When Jillian informs that the machine is ready, Sam still tries to contact Karen, but he gets no response from her. A creature approaches the duo one last time as the journey begins, and the light engulfs the passengers. The two complete the crossing and return to the original dimension safe and sound but without much courage to face the confusion they caused.